That new phone don't know how to control the sound. Anyway, I worked for Jet for 10 years. So I had archived, collected, hundreds of artifacts that fit right in close with the American Civil Rights Movement and South Carolina Civil Rights Movement. And then I had about 250,000 photographs. So for a long time before 2019, I was trying to find a museum to put my exhibits and my photographs and my documents in, and I couldn't find one. So in 2019, I just gave up. I mean, I had asked the city, the county, the state, everyone I could, organizations, groups, influential people all over the state of South Carolina, to help us to pay a fitting tribute and commemoration to those South Carolinians who started the American Civil Rights Movement. Because, as you know, we don't get credit for it. With absolutely no disrespect to the Reverend Martin Luther King, Rosa Parks, and the people of Montgomery, Alabama, who come to life on December 1st, 1955. See, South Carolina Civil Rights Movement history, Civil Rights Movement in 1946 in Batesburg, South Carolina. Probably you might not even know of this. With a gentleman who got off a bus in Batesburg. He was a soldier on his last day after serving in the U.S. Army. Got off the bus. He'd been drinking a little too much and had asked the bus driver to go to the bathroom one time too many. And that irritated the bus driver. So he reported him to the Batesburg police officer. I see put it. You're riding on the bus. People and Harry Truman, the president of the United States, discovered that that blinded soldier, when he brought the trial, he brought it again to that's it. This is about brought to trial. The police officer brought the trial, and he was found innocent. So because of that incident, President Harry Truman integrated the armed services of the United States, impacting 4 million people. Start the American Civil Rights Movement, or the history books give us credit. So with all that history on hand, we cannot ignore the fact we had to bring to life a civil rights movement right here in South Carolina. Now, Orangeburg, why Orangeburg for a South Carolina civil rights movement? Orangeburg is roughly the epicenter of the American civil rights movement. Because if you reach out about 200 miles, you've got, say, Greensboro, where things would happen, Montgomery, Alabama, where things would happen, Mississippi, where things are happening, and other states, Atlanta, Georgia, where things are happening. Orangeburg is right about in the epicenter. And then 35 miles down the road, we have Clarendon County. The Clarendon County story is very unusual. It also plays a greater part of history than again, and before the Reverend Martin King comes to life. Because in 1954, the Supreme Court ruled that segregation in public education is unconstitutional. And that really, again, was another milestone in the American Civil Rights Movement. And before the Reverend Martin King and Rosa Parks come down, May 17, 1954, Supreme Court overthrew Plessy versus Ferguson. And then we were able to, for the first time in America, begin to get and earn the rights that we should have had all the time. Plessy allowed for separate but equal. So did you know that we as people of color did not have our full rights as citizens in the United States until 1954, when the Supreme Court ruled that segregation is unconstitutional, because Plessy allowed states to segregate us as long as they provided equal opportunities. So again, a lot of history. So with all this history on hand, this is why, again, and I cannot take all the credit. My wife can't take the credit, and my sister, when we started using, can't take all the credit. It was a divine journey. that led us in start a civil rights movement. I have no intention to start a civil rights or any kind of museum myself personally. But again, the hands of the journey, the man upstairs, that somebody had to do it. And I am so happy that I have, again, played a part in this bring to South Carolina. The first and only civil rights museum in the state of South Carolina.
Yes.
And although you're now in a very cramped space of only 3,000 square feet, it was in God's wisdom a long time ago when he started writing this story that, again, I designed a house. This used to be our bedroom, you and your now. A house that kind of looked like a museum. I mean, you know, you have to come off the highway and you just don't discover the museum just accidentally. You have to be intentionally coming to this area. But again, in the wisdom of God, now downtown in Orangeburg, and at the culmination, we're going down and take a photograph on the steps of the brand new museum. We had hoped to have you go inside, peek through the windows, so you could walk forward. They're now installing on some other extra things, and it's not safe to go in there use. We're going to take a picture, group picture steps. So as that was coming, when he comes in, I'm going to be introducing you to a real American hero. In a way, my little contribution, I'm the guy at 18 years old who drank out of the white money water fountain. You might have seen that on. He is genuinely an American hero, and it is my great pleasure to have him to accompany us today. So I want to thank you for this great opportunity to host Aiken, South Carolina is in the house.
Yes.
So thank you very much for that.
That's right.
And while I know your journey may have been in less than an hour, but still yet, we want to right now, in advance, the new museum open, give you your an invitation to come back when I'm using this completely. Exactly when, we don't know. We're ready, because all we gotta do is move our things in and make new exhibits. But I promise you, as we make new exhibits, Mr. Summers is coming.
No, sir, but we have a presentation.
Okay, but when we get our new museum, as you will see from the flyer that I gave you, let me put it this way. When I was growing up, my mother used to tell me, she said, boy, you're always trying to do things too big for your britches. And that was a description of me all through my life growing up, because no matter what it was, I was always trying to do things that were beyond my capacity. All through my life. So, as it was with this music. So again, this is a stretch for me to bring again into fruition again South Carolina's first civil rights music. But guess what? Just like my mother said, boy, you're always trying to do things to get into riches. Ladies and gentlemen, look at those exhibits that we have on your slide. Do you see the name of those events that we will cover in our museum? And not only that, guess what? They will be the biggest exhibits in America. So we don't have $150 million in our museum in Orangeburg. It's not a huge place. It's about 10,400 square feet. But in that space that we have, we're going to be a small museum with a big history, because we plan to cover those events. Who would ever believe that if you take Althea Gibson, that we would have the biggest exhibit in America on Althea Gibson? And you see it right here today. Who do you think would believe it, that we would have the biggest exhibit of again, Cleve Stokes? How about Septima Clark? How about Majestica Simpkins? And how about that lady from Bates, from Eastover, South Carolina, Sarah Mae Fleming? Sarah Mae Fleming, 17 months before Rosa Parks sat down on a bus in Montgomery, Alabama. Sarah Mae Fleming, you can hardly see it right over there on that wall, sat down on a bus in Columbia, South Carolina, didn't feel like getting up. The bus driver had her arrested, and the case was one of those cases even cited when Rosa Parks, 17 months later, sits down. So you see, our history is there. It's just that we have not been told about it. The historians don't know about it. Credential historians with 3 and 4 PhDs don't know South Carolina history. And I challenge any one of them to any argument about trying to discuss where the American Civil Rights Movement started, because I am a living eyewitness. I was there. I was a part of it. I photographed the Jet magazine. And not only that, I have what is called the holy grail of documentary information and artifacts. I got the photographs of the documents that really proves that the American Civil Rights Movement did not start on December 1st, 1955, but had a South Carolina beginning. So look at those, again, events. When you approach it, you'll see where we're coming from. All those great events we were talking about. And guess what? We ain't finished yet. Because if Aiken, South Carolina, I didn't cover something, and you know from history that we ought to have, that's worthy of it. And keep in mind, here's where we're going with this. Think about 1940 to 1970, the period of the American Civil Rights Movement, that range of years. And think about events that impacted our society, our political environment, and everything else. An event that's worthy of again others looking at it. So we need artifacts, documents, and photographs. If my friend George Anderson, who was an attorney, was in this audience, and I don't think he is, George Anderson was an attorney who lives in your hometown. I want to get some of his artifacts and documents. He's retired. I spoke to him a few weeks ago, and I think he's going to submit something. So then we will have some Aiken, South Carolina civil rights movement history put into our music. So that's where we're coming from. But if you personally have knowledge of it, we're looking for new things to again make this the most comprehensive civil rights museum anywhere, not just Orangeburg. Don't confine, say, our history to just Orangeburg, South Carolina. We want to have the best museum in the United States.
Yes.
So pretty much, ladies and gentlemen, again, I welcome you to our museum. This has been a great pleasure. We've been looking for this for a long time, so I'm glad that we were able to collaborate and partner with, again, your village. I'm going to say your name because I haven't found out how to pronounce it.
Umoja.
Emotion. But again, welcome, and we want to partner and collaborate and do other things. We will have a 150-seat auditorium. You will be cramped the next time you come. And then we want to have programs and seminars. We want to have people like Cleve Sellers come by and tell us like it was, not what's reading the history book. We want to have, again, the little girl who, again, is not part of South Carolina history. But when I had an opportunity to walk on Broadway because of the image of me drinking out of the white only water fountain, was in New York about a year ago. I happened to meet a little girl who, again, is pictured by Norman Rockwell walking to school through Marshall. So we're going to have her. She's an auditorium. So things like that are just shaped for what is yet to come, because we're going to have one of the most exciting, one of the most eventful packed museums in the United States. A small museum for a big history.
William, yes, I'm good. Before you turn it over for presentation, I just want to make a quick point. How many, everyone here has a cell phone, correct?
Yes.
Imagine just for a minute the time when there were no cell phones.
Yes.
There was no internet. Right now, anything that happens here in Orangeburg, South Carolina, in 30 minutes, it can be around the world.
Yes.
Imagine no cell phones, no internet, and let me add, no Cecil Williams with his camera.
Right.
If he were not there to document all of these things that we're talking about, someone would just be telling the story and a lot of folks wouldn't believe it.
That's
But
right.
how can you doubt the proof that's right there? So
That's
I just
right.
wanted to interrupt and say something nice because it's Friday, which is payday, and I really
I was about to say that.
It's a payday, right? Right. I know that's right.
Are there any questions you might have about the history, our history, South Carolina, music, or anything else? I'll be happy to answer any question we have before we have the presentation. Are there any questions? I'm glad to have in the house, Big John right here too, from Aiken, who again is gonna launch, they have an exhibit. Raise your hand, please, sir. Oh, yeah. Yes, so we partnered with them. You see, when we come along, we don't want to say, go to the door, close the door. Open up the door. You don't want, we partnered with them. You will see what do you call it, oh, the Obama throw, right, bro, that is one we do. Again, yeah. So, we have so much history in here. Ladies and gentlemen, we got three of the dolls that were, again, cited in the case called Brown versus Board of Education. We got the original dolls back in one of our rooms. We got Thurgood Marshall's suitcase.
Oh.
We got Althea Gibson's tennis racket. And on and on. And sadly, and again, in a very solid kind of way, with great respect, we also have 5 of the bullets that again killed the students in the Orangeburg massacre.
Oh, wow.
Again, an event in 1968 restricted the lives of 3 students, injured 28, and if it were not for the fact that God removed me from the site 1 hour earlier, I might have been caught up in myself. This is the kind of history that we are again going to be archiving in our music. And we're just not going to have ordinary exhibits. We're going to have exciting exhibits. Now, we do have a shortcoming. Shortcoming is that, unfortunately, this kind of subject matter, because history maybe only remains in social studies kind of classes in our high schools. Again, history is not seemingly of importance in our school system. One shortcoming is we aren't able to reach maybe middle school and young. 30 minutes before you came, we had a group in here from, what's the name of that church in Jefferson? The church group.
I'm sorry.
What the name of the church group just left here?
Jerusalem Baptist.
Jerusalem Baptist was 15 young people. We don't, unfortunately, have the exhibits that will really reach. It's supposed to be some people that be toast. We do not have knowing about what a jet magazine is all about.
Yes.
You can't do anything. Say middle school upward, very exciting. And by the way, I see we have a mixed group here.
Yeah.
Everyone Jewish. You assume that the American our white brothers and sisters, they're marching in Germany. Teachers, he helped to equalize school pay. This white gentleman right here. And because of his activities, he was ostracized in the community of Charleston. So this music will cover all those people, be whatever color they are, whatever age they were. This is what we're all about. The American Civil Rights Movement was one of the most exciting periods of change in this country. It was during the American Civil Rights Movement period where without bullets or weapons, and surely there was some violence, surely there was some happening, but basically, with Martin Luther King's gift to us of nonviolence, we revolutionized and made it in reality and tweaked the 14th Amendment, the Second Amendment, and the U.S. Constitution with the Civil Rights Movement. It helped to bring down, again, domination of Great Britain over 10 African nations. The Berlin Wall came down as a result of being influenced by, again, the Civil Rights Movement. So this was a great period of time. and South Carolina had to have a museum that showcases this. So when you visit our museum, in about 45 minutes, take a group picture. Remember now, you got a standing ovation to come back. Again, thank you very much for letting me add these comments.
Mr. Cecil, what was the some people, you know, now.
So I'm assuming that I think I'll be able to do is remain free. We don't want